It comes out good because I don't have one of those fancy microphone ones, but we haven't done an intro yet. But this is Hunter. I'm Nick. Today is my 40th birthday, so we kind of decided that we do a big deadlift day. Last week I did 600 for 8, so today we're gonna do 705. See how many reps I can do. I do have a number in mind. Old coach Pete Rubish gave me a number he wants me to do. We'll see what happens. What about you? What do you think today?
We'll see how the warm-ups go. I'll either go probably one up my last 525 for 10 and do like 550.
That was an impressive set because I look back and I had only done 515 for 10 previous to that. So
It was moving.
Yeah, it was moving.
I think it's just the cardio was up a little bit.
Yeah. Those sets come down to cardio so much. But you know what? That's the thing. I don't think many people train in that like 80% zone for reps.
No.
You're either sub 70% doing reps or you're like above it doing triples. So
Right.
This to me, this is the special zone where strength is built.
Yep.
So I hope that intro came out good. That was our first time doing that, and obviously I don't have like a microphone. So yeah, let's get into it. This is my 40th birthday workout with Hunter, and our buddy David came out too, but he's not filming because he wasn't lifting. So yeah, both of us wanted to work up to, call it a heavy AMRAP, but for me, this wasn't like going to be a ton of reps, and I knew that going in. I got a text this morning from my coach, although he's not coaching me at the moment, Pete Rubish, and he told me happy birthday, and I'm calling for 4 reps. So, I had 4 reps in mind, but truth is, as we were warming up, I didn't feel great, which is super common, by the way. I'm sure I say that in a lot of videos. I think if you're a lifter that's training hard and prioritizing multiple lifts or multiple strongman movements, your fatigue is going to kick in. So what you do, to work on log takes away from your back. I know Hunter was feeling that specifically. Both of us have done some heavy AMRAPs within a week too. So 600 for 8 for me recently, I wasn't fully recovered from that, but that was kind of my goal. The point for me was that I was conditioned for it. And so, I've always kind of used that. So I kind of used a progression of I did 600 beltless for 3 paused, and then I did the 600 for 8, and then this, all within, a 3-week span. So never fully recovered in between sessions. You don't necessarily need to be, but very well conditioned and, kind of peaked my strength for that. And then, you could use that to go into a heavy single. But I think what we're going to do is we're just going to switch to more high rep stuff on the wagon wheels, because our contest coming up in March that me and Hunter are both doing is 705 for reps from wagon wheels. The wagon wheels are 13-inch. Some wagon wheels will take you to an 18-inch deadlift, which is pretty high. It's up by the knees. The 13-inch is still high shin. So, some people are struggling with it. I only went with 500 pounds, but the wagon wheels felt extremely easy for me. So I'm feeling very confident, but I still wanted to make sure my back strength was peaked. And that's why we've been doing a lot of stuff from the floor. But this will probably be the end of that. But yeah, while I was doing these warm-ups, I felt like my hips were a little bit tight. And looking at some of these, my stance was a lot wider than I would normally take, which worked out fine. That might be because the hips were feeling tight. The way I get down on my knees, and Hunter does the same thing, and then set in the straps, when you pop up, your body kind of just finds that position naturally. It definitely is something that takes practice. But yeah, I think maybe just because of the tightness, my feet were landing a lot wider. I don't know if that really happened on the actual 705 reps. I think probably I got to exactly where I need to be. But yeah, I was definitely feeling it with some of these warm-ups. Hunter's warm-ups looked insane. This dude always just looks like he's pulling with such incredible speed. I told him today when I was first getting back into lifting, because, I had a long hiatus, and I'm maybe a year and a half back from that hiatus of actual competing, maybe 2 years of good lifting now. But when I met him, I was so impressed at what his deadlifts looked like, because the truth is my deadlifts were really struggling. And when I first got back into it, I did pull a good 640 at Pete Rubish's gym in Tennessee under his guidance. It was actually his birthday that day, and he was doing a deadlift seminar, and I drove down from Illinois to Tennessee, and he coached me into a 640 deadlift. But there was a lot that went into that. I'd actually gotten sick going into it, so my body weight was pretty low, which made me able to get into a really good position for deadlifts. Normally, if the body weight's too high, it's very hard to master the deadlift position. So, I had that going for me. I was definitely on a lot of gear, so I was super strong in that moment, and it was hard to replicate after that. So we got into training. I hired Pete as a coach, and 640 wasn't easy anytime after that. In fact, we were kind of hanging out in that 650 range for a while. And I just hit 705 for the first time after my meet in September with straps, and it was a little hitched. So, I feel like my deadlift has come a really long way in a short period of time, I guess is what I'm saying. And some of that is just been able to master the form. Some of that is just absolutely staying with it and making my back stupid strong. I think my upper back was already really strong. We've continued to invest into that. I think anybody that's training strongman or powerlifting that's not, training their upper back relentlessly is probably making a huge mistake. But I think when we started with Pete, especially, just lower back training, insane amounts. We did heavy good mornings from pins. We do the back extensions with a barbell. He's famous for that. I'm in my own right famous for that now. I've done 501 pounds in the 45-degree back extension with a barbell. So here's Hunter's top set. So, I think based on just the way he was feeling in warm-ups, he decided to cap it out at 550. I was kind of pushing him to try to just do 600 for reps. And I think he would have gotten to a similar rep range that I did with 705, to be honest. But, this is where he felt good. So 550. That's actually a little slow for him, I think. They look good, but I think he had some fatigue in his hamstrings. This is just my opinion, not his necessarily. I don't think he even thinks about stuff like this. And so it just looked like he was pulling a lot with his lower back, which might be good because I think he needs to make his lower back stronger per what I was just rambling about. But yeah, I think he knocks out 5 reps here. I would doubt that he was happy with that overall. I think he probably wanted more like 8. So, and then this ends up being my last warm-up. So this is, 595. It was supposed to be the second to last warm-up. And again, I think my feet are pretty wide there. It moved fine, but it didn't feel amazing. My cardio felt super low on this day. So, we decided to just go ahead and load the extra red, went straight to 705. Here you can see, I got in the right mindset for this. This was good. Used the smelling salts there. We had from Who the Bell Toll playing on the speaker. I felt the right amount of hype here, and that probably went a long way for how good these look. Sorry for the video being really zoomed out, but I didn't realize that it had stepped away like that. But yeah, I got set in here. Just kind of cleared my mind of all expectations. Previous to this, I had only pulled 705 for singles, 2 separate singles. So, when it ripped off the floor and felt pretty good, I was pretty excited right there. Reset, go right into the second rep. There's 2. It was still feeling pretty okay. Getting right to it, no hesitation, which is great. It probably got a little in front of me on that reset there, and then you can see I kind of hitched it to lockout. So I stopped there, even though I definitely wanted 4 reps, and maybe 4 reps would have been there. I've heard from a lot of people they're like, you left one in the tank, which if I did, that's fine. I'm cool with leaving one in the tank. I think that 4th one would have been so brutally hitched. I didn't need to do it, and so this is awesome for me. And it's a huge triple PR. I'm just feeling great about that. And 705 is the contest weight, so being able to handle it from the floor for 3 and then go into wagon wheels is going to be huge. And this ended up being kind of a short workout for me. So this was the only accessory of the day. We just did seal rows. There's 2 45s on there. I think that bar is 40 pounds, so it's about 220 pounds. Seal rows is something I'm pretty darn good at, so this is actually on the lighter side. My training partners were just kind of done, and everybody was celebrating, and so the steam for the day was done.